What's going on, everybody? This is Proto. We're going over the Onion router today. Don't worry, it's nothing to cry about. Let's get to it.
Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
What's going on, guys? Proto here. So today we're going to be going over the Onion router. It's nothing to cry about. It's actually quite simple to use. And now this is actually the first video of 2023. So I'm actually pretty excited about what this year's going to hold. Some things are going to be changing. Some things are going to be done a bit different. And I'm just really excited for what this year has to hold. So stick around. Some new stuff will be dropping probably February. But I'll do a video on that probably next week. I'll probably take a week to do that video and kind of get everything set up, and then all of it will kind of come to light. So I'm excited for it. But today we're going over the Onion router. Oh man, let's see if this works. Alright, so we have our normal introduction. I'm going to go over TOR, and then we're going to have that conclusion area where I'll do a little bit more talking. But that's kind of what we're going over today. Not super difficult, it's only a few slides. So first off, legal stuff. This is all for educational purposes only. I don't condone unethical or illegal hacking, using unauthorized or using information that you gather from that hacking to get unauthorized access to accounts, buying information like that, or really anything else nefarious. Again, all of this is for educational purposes only. If you choose to do something stupid or illegal with it, that's on you, not me. So, the intro. TOR. TOR is the Onion router. T-O-O-R-R. Super simple, right? It really isn't. It's actually a protocol, and there's also an application for it, but it's a protocol to access the dark web, deep web, dank web, whatever you want to call it, but the thing that hides under Google. It was originally created by the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory. It was created for the intelligence agents to protect their identities while they're doing investigations. But they really found out that it was kind of crappy to just have them be using it, because is it really that anonymous and protective of their identities when they are the only ones using it? So it was sent out to the world. I believe it was created in the early 90s, early to mid 90s. Now 2003 is when I believe it went kind of public, and the public in the aspect of it was able to be used and hosted and things like that. But then 2004 is really when it went under a free license. However, to this day, the government, those three-letter agencies that we talk about, they still provide funding for TOR. And from the last that I read, one of the original creators of it was still managing it personally now, obviously out of those three-letter agencies, but they are still the one that is really maintaining it. Now, why would you use TOR? Well, you're going to access information that's under the clear web, that under Google. So if you don't know the difference between the clear web and the dark web, the clear web is anything you're going to find with a .com, .net, anything that you're going to just Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo. All of that's on the clear web. You don't really have to do anything to access it other than have an internet connection and an internet browser. And then you have the dark web. That's everything under Google. That's things that aren't going to be hosted on Google's, I'll call it databases of websites. All of the dark web is hosted either privately or publicly, depending on how it's all set up. On servers, at homes, and businesses, all those that you can think of. That's where all that's stored. Now, the other portion to TOR is accessing information that isn't on the clear web, but also being able to communicate and transfer files anonymously. So you have that you're accessing all this information, but how do you get it to this person? Well, you can use Tor to put it together and transfer it. Now, we talk about anonymously and anonymity when we talk about Tor, or when you read about it. Yes, it's anonymous in an aspect. The internet service provider that you have can still see that you're using Tor. They can't see what you're doing on it, but they can still see that you're using it. And we'll go over how Tor works in a slide or two. But it's not, completely anonymous as people think. And again, we'll go over that and some other things why. But unless you're dabbling in those nefarious deals in the dark markets and such, really what you see above that line is, just these two things. You're going to access that information that you won't find on Google. And then you're going to be able to communicate and transfer files, quote unquote anonymously. Those are really the two big things that you and I will be using Tor for. Now, I said anonymous. Is it really? And we already talked about it. No. But how Tor works is it uses different nodes to connect you to it and the .onion websites that you're going to be viewing. We talked about .com, .net, .gov for being on the clear web. Well, anything that's on the Tor network is going to be .onion. It's going to be a random string of numbers and letters and then .onion after that. You connect to it through the Tor application, and then you have the entrance node. Then you have a bunch of nodes in the middle. So think of it, I'll say similar to a VPN in the aspect of it. You have the start of it, then it bounces between different places here. I know my screen is blurred, but starts here, goes here, goes here, goes here, and then it exits out over here, and now you can hit to that .onion website. The entrance node and the exit node are able to be located in terms of getting that ISP, or not the ISP, I'm sorry, the IP address. You can also, it can be seen by the ISP. But those in-between nodes, that's what will be hidden. Again, your ISP can still see that you're using Tor. So that's not where it's anonymous. That's not where it's hidden. All that, what you're doing is hidden. But now we go down to this one. This scary line right here. Google, Bing, all those places, they have areas that check the uploads and the downloads and things like that. Your computer will check the uploads and downloads when you download something from Google and Bing and whatever, so long as you have the right security software active. When you're using Tor, that's not there. So your ability to be tracked, the ability to have your screen logged and have keyloggers added to your device, viruses, all from what you download or view, it's all possible. And all of that can negate the anonymity that you have, or you believe you have, or that we believe we have when we use Tor. So you got to keep that in mind. The other portion to this, tracker, log, all this stuff is this last line here. Dark websites can and are frequently taken over by three-letter agencies around the world, sometimes jointly, and those users are tracked by either just those three-letter agencies having access to the whole kit and caboodle of that website or that .onion address, or they're able to flip the owners of those websites or the admins of those websites and are given information. That's something that happened with the Alphabet and Hansa. Both of those are linked to the Darknet Diary episodes. It's not sponsored. I literally listened to every single episode, and there was I believe there's still a little bit of a hiatus going on, and it's killing me that there's nothing going on with him. But I have other podcasts that I listen to, so it's okay. Sidetrack either way. Go listen to those go listen to those episodes. I have his website linked in the last page of the resources, and I believe it was episode 24 and 25 or 23 and 24 that go over both Alphabet and Hansa. And I believe I talked about them in a different episode as well. So, is this really OSINT? Yes and no. Those the things that I talk about, those people searches, the people's cell phone and the address searches, the email searches, they won't work on the Onion router. They won't work on Tor. That's all clear web stuff. What you can get, and this is where we get into that gray area, you have the data breaches. You have the stolen identity information and other personal identifying information that's out there on the dark web. Some of it's for free, some of you have to pay for it, some of it is super sketchy to download, and some of it's, terabytes worth of data that you're only going to need a few megabytes of. Maybe a gig, because again, we're all talking about text files there and just raw data, raw string data. So this is that gray area of OSINT. Michael Bazzell talks about it. This is really that, we'll call it the white hat of OSINT, is going on Google, using those people search websites, not really doing anything that was grabbed illegally, but was paid for and then disseminated by those people search websites. Then you have the black hat portion of OSINT, which really isn't OSINT. It's the actual hacking and getting into certain databases and such to get that information, which is then disseminated through different Telegram groups and things of that nature, and obviously the Tor network. And then you have the gray, which is what we're talking about here. Well, we're using the Tor network to get that information. We're not buying it necessarily. We're not stealing it. It's just out there for us to get, but it was gotten illegally. So that's that gray area. Where's your moral compass on it? And if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. But again, depending on what you're doing, it's out there for you. So these are the resources. This little top link is one of the, I'll say, the best resources that I had used during making this. And then you have the Darknet Diaries episodes for Alpha Bay and Hansa. So I'm assuming it's 24 and 25, not 23 and 24. But go check those out. And as always, here's my information. Right now, the best way to contact me is on Instagram. Soon, it'll be different. There will be a different way to contact me. It will be to where some people get contacted, within an hour or so. Others, it might take a couple days. I'm still going to be on here. I'm still going to be doing Instagram stuff, and I'll still be available for Instagram chat. But beginning February, depending on how things go, priorities might change. So keep your eye out for that. Like I said, there will be a video. Excuse me. But what we're going to do now is we're going to look at installing Tor, using it, and then some safety aspects of using it that I'll go over while we start installing and looking at the Tor website. And then also I'm going to show you a resource that I found, because all of my Tor usage really started when I worked on a project that was recently published. I was not, my name was not in it, nor my handle, but I used Tor to get a lot of the information, just because that's where it was. It was all hidden. I didn't have to search through 12 pages of Google for them to, push it down to the bottom. That way I wouldn't find it. I was able to use Tor to find out what I needed. So I'm going to pause here. My face will go away. Sorry if that just got loud. I smacked the mic. My face will go away, and we will get started on using Tor. So stand by. Alright, so we're back. We're going to go over the Tor. There's my mouse head. TorProject.org is where you're going to find information on Tor and how to download it. So first, let's go to About. It goes over the history. Read through this. It tells you a lot about Tor. Then you have the people portion of it. It tells you who is working on it currently. All fun stuff. There's also a community aspect of it, so you can get training. There's different things all throughout this whole community portion of it that is super useful. Then they have their blog. Their blog is what's going to give you information on using Tor and the different updates and such. And then you have the download. So it's right here. You're going to click download, and you will then install it. Make that go away. So you'll end up getting a folder. There it is. So when you download it, you'll get a folder. And then you go through. The browser information is in there. You have the Start Tor browser right there. And then this is what you get. So you don't want to do it in full screen because there is a way for them to track your screen size and your screen. It's going to establish a connection with Tor. Tor is not fast. Tor is actually quite slow. It's not used for large downloads and such. That is what a VPN is for. And there is conflicting information on using a VPN and Tor. Read up on what it says. Then sometimes things change quite frequently, but usually it says just use Tor. Don't worry about using a VPN. So this is the Tor browser. This is quite simple. But what I'm going to pull up in just a second is one of the resources that I have. So hold on for that. Alrighty, so this is the other resource that I had found. It's called Hunchly. Now I've used it and I've seen it before, but Hunchly is pretty much just for the dark web. It's OSINT related, which is awesome, but they have some great stuff for the dark web. So you go to your industry, do all of these. Let's see what cybersecurity says. Has a bunch of stuff for research. There's pricing. So you get the 30-day trial. You have one user, and also for larger organizations. Hunchly is amazing. I've seen it being used for other investigations and such. I think it's awesome. Now, not the account. We're going to find dark web mailing list. So there are hidden services and such. That's what the portions of the dark web are. They're called hidden services. This dark web report will show you services that are up, down, or new. So I'm going to pull mine up. Give me just a second here. Alrighty, had to block the name. So on here you have, this is the .onion address, and this is what it's for. Now there are some inappropriate things and some terrible things on the dark web. So I'm not going to scroll through here because I don't know what it's all going to say and show. But I will say that there are 3 tabs here: the new, up, and down. Down meaning that they aren't being used or aren't accessible. Up meaning they are accessible. As you go through, you can find out what all is there. I'll leave this where it is. We can view this comic book library. That'll be one of the ones that we go to. But then I will show you some of the other ones that aren't on here, or that might be here but are further down below. But let's get to using Tor. So we downloaded Tor, we have it running. What do we do? Well, first we're going to go to this little tab here. If it says update available, you're going to want to update it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to let it do its thing and update. And you'll see that it says my Tor browser has been updated. Now it's not there anymore. We're going to go to settings. Tor, it's not going to be the default browser, at least for me. Let's actually hit on one thing really quick. Don't run Tor from your machine. I'm going to say it again. This is a do as I say, not as I do. Don't run Tor from your machine. The way that I have the recording software and stuff set up, I tried running Tor and such through a VM and record it. It came out choppy. The audio was fine, but it did come out a bit choppy. So that's why I am obviously showing you on my machine. However, I'm not going to be going to certain sites. I'm not going to be downloading anything. I'm going to make sure that I don't do anything stupid while I show you guys how to use this. I'm also not doing anything nefarious, so I'm not super worried, and I'm not doing an investigation, so again, I'm not super worried. But we have our settings. Let's go down to privacy and security. We're going to prioritize .onion websites. You're going to make that always. So you can still go to clear websites on the Tor network. However, if they have a Tor website, such as, and I believe Instagram does now, I know for sure Facebook does, they do have a .onion website for places that don't have access to Facebook. This is how you can make sure it's prioritized, that you're always using those .onion websites. Now, I don't suggest logging into your personal Facebook and such through Tor, but if you are using a burner account or whatever, do your thing. Your cookies are always going to be deleted. You can suggest and generate strong passwords. Again, I'm going to suggest you don't really log into anything. You're always going to use private browsing. And then you can have the address bar suggest bookmarks, open tabs, and things like that. You make sure your permissions are off, blocking pop-ups, warn when they try to install the add-ons, and then you have these three. So these three security levels. You have the standard, which is just regular, pretty much regular internet browser. Then you have your safer portion. You have the JavaScript disabled, math and font symbols are disabled, and audio, video, and stuff like that are click to play. Then you have the safest. It's static HTML pages, videos and images won't necessarily always load, things of that nature. I choose safer just because it can break, quote unquote, websites if you use safest. Because of what I look at doing the investigation side, and especially with what I was trying to find for resources on Tor and for the other stuff that I did on that project, I'd unclicked the block dangerous and deceptive content, but I did click the warn about unwanted and uncommon software, just in case I clicked on something that I shouldn't have, or that I was downloading things I didn't mean to. And then I have it comes with HTTPS only in all windows, automatically clicked. So, how do we find .onion sites? Well, I showed you the Hunchly deal, but what we also have access to is something called the Hidden Wiki. And you'll see how slow this stuff goes. Search this through DuckDuckGo, and then you're going to go to the hiddenwiki.com. And if it does it right, okay. So it had changed. It used to not look like this, and there was a Tor version of this, but there's different posts and such on the Hidden Wiki. This is kind of the starting place for doing any type of searches on Tor networks. So you have obviously the editor's picks, and then the introduction points. So here we go. So these are all the .onion sites. So we're just going to go to onion links. That'll go to that .onion directory. And again, because of what's posted on here, I'm not going to scroll too much further. I'll let you do that yourself. Really don't want to be flagged by YouTube, or depending on who sees this, where they watch it, I don't want them to see it, or have to hide that. So this is a perfect example of that .onion address. You have the weird stuff up at the top, whatever that is, just random bits, and then .onion. That's how you know you're on a .onion website, you're on a Tor network. So as you can see, all of these fun things are on here. You'll see that there are V2 websites and V3 websites. V2 have stopped working back in 2021. And then you have all of these, again, introduction points, kind of same thing. Where I went for a lot of stuff is the news sites. Found a handful of different ones. The one issue I had is I didn't save them, so I will say that's an issue on my end. And then you have all the open source software. So Onion Share is one of those programs that I talked about for the chat and file sharing. They recently added a chat function to it. And then I will show you, I'll pause this right quick and show you the link from the hidden wiki services that I downloaded. So I just went over, copied it. I'm going to paste, this is that comic book link that was in that download that I showed you. And we're going, and boom. So you have a comic book library. No clue what this is. But apparently you can search comics. So I like Nightwing. It's kind of my thing. I like the... Huh? No search results. Well, let's go to titles. What? No Nightwing? Oh, and there's no stuck header. DC Comics might be in there somewhere. But these are some of the things that you can find. Alright, well, after some searching, the one that I was going to talk about, it's called Dread, is down. So I'll leave you with this last little portion here that's on my screen. The biggest thing that people use Tor for is that whistleblowing, that journalism aspect. So, again, just like with anything else, browse safely. But that's it for this. Close all those. I'm going to move those over in a minute. And I'm back up here. So with that, I thank you guys for watching this. Like I said earlier in the video, things are going to be changing. Some other things are going to pop up. But if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. This will be posted on all of my socials. Go ahead and just let me know what you think. Let me know how I can improve. Let me know how the audio and things like that are. How the quality of the actual recording is. All of that helps me make these better. Because I'll just keep making them better on each little individual comment that I get. Thank you guys for everything so far, and hope you guys have had a great start to the new year. And I look forward to the next couple of weeks. I'll see you then.
Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions.